The Netherlands is known as the land of windmills because it has more than 1,200 windmills scattered throughout the country. In addition, the Netherlands is also known as the land of dams and is sometimes referred to as the underwater country. The Netherlands is a country in Western Europe with an area of 41,850 square kilometers, which is smaller than East Java in Indonesia, where about 60% of its land is below sea level. This fact is reflected in its name, Netherlands, which means low-lying country, because it is situated on a delta of a large river and is also a low-lying area. Most of its territory is wetlands and vulnerable to flooding. Nevertheless, despite being a low-lying country, the Netherlands is now one of the countries that is able to control floods very well. In history, their ancestors have been accustomed to fighting against floods for more than 2,000 years, starting around 400 years before the first Frisians settled in the Netherlands. They built terps, mounds of earth on which they built houses or even entire villages. Terps were built to protect villages from floods. However, on December 14, 1287, the terps and dikes that held back the North Sea broke, causing water to flood the country. This flood was known as St. Lucia and killed more than 50,000 people, making it one of the worst floods in human history. The Great Flood then created a new bay called the Southern Sea, which was formed by the flood that inundated most of the farmland. After decades of flooding and storms that caused water to seep into the ground and threatened agriculture, the people of the Netherlands and the government worked together to create various incredible innovations to face the disaster. The first innovation they did was to create a folding windmill, a technique to create plots of land that have been enclosed by dikes to hold water and build windmills around them that function to pump water from the polder to the river, which is then channeled to the sea so that the polder can dry up and be used. Initially, this innovation succeeded in making the Netherlands safe from the threat of floods for hundreds of years and drying up many marshes along the delta and the coast. However, in the end, the centuries-old effort was defeated by nature through the Great Flood of 1953. The flood killed more than 1,800 people, evacuated as many as 70,000 residents, and inundated about 90% of their farmland. The flood that occurred on January 31 to February 1, 1953, inundated almost the entire southern region and parts of northern Netherlands. So, learning from this event, the Dutch government rose up and decided to create a flood prevention system called Delta Works. Delta Works is the construction of a number of planned and interconnected flood prevention infrastructures in several regions in the Netherlands. The Delta Works project consists of laying down 13 dams, including giant watergate barriers and dikes to protect the area around the river delta from the North Sea floods. These giant watergate barriers are a technology that the Dutch people are very proud of. With the threat of floods coming directly from the North Sea, these flood and storm barriers have proven effective in preventing seawater from entering Dutch territory. Since the 1953 flood, there have been 15 flood barrier gates built in the Netherlands. These giant watergate barriers are spread throughout the Netherlands, which borders directly on the sea. Not only protecting against floods, but the Delta Works also functions to provide fresh drinking water and irrigation. With the Delta Works, the risk of floods is reduced by around 1 in 4,000 years. On the other hand, in addition to the windmill system that originally used windmills as its pumping power, it was changed using the latest pump technology powered by diesel and electricity to dry out waterlogged polders due to river seepage and seawater from underground. And to make use of the water resources in the country, this tulip country has made other innovations by creating floating forests and floating farms. The Netherlands began to try to float some salt-resistant trees in the river delta near major cities in the Netherlands in order to maximize the water evaporation process as well as a tourist attraction in their country. Some Dutch private parties are also trying to create floating farms due to land limitations in the Netherlands. Although every effort has been made as hard as possible by the Netherlands to overcome the threat of floods in their country, the reality is that there are still other threats lurking and endangering the Netherlands at present, namely global warming, climate change, and urbanization. The threat of global warming that threatens the Netherlands through rising sea levels is currently a serious threat. This is because if sea levels begin to rise, the embankments they have built painstakingly for years can collapse instantly, as this country has been below sea level since the beginning. On the other hand, urbanization is also a serious threat to this country. Urbanization that continues to increase in major cities in the Netherlands, resulting in the burden on the land increasing, which then increases the height of waterlogging by more than 10 centimeters every 10 years. This is certainly a serious task for the Netherlands.